Good afternoon, colleagues. Thanks for joining today's session.
Good afternoon.
Once more, I'd like to apologize for the inconvenience caused yesterday that resulted in 2 rooms. I trust most persons from yesterday in the second room are here today. Right. So I am Michaela Peck from the Office of Distance Learning and Training Officer. Mrs. Kamla Anderson is also here. We will hear from her briefly. She's also from the Office of Distance Learning. She is the Instructional Design Specialist there. For today's session, so I tried to start on time 12 p.m. because we want to keep the duration at maximum 1 hour. Right. So we're just going to get straight into it. Regarding so during the session, if you wish to speak, you can raise your hand, and then you can take the mic once you are acknowledged. So bottom center of your screen, there are 4 icons. There's an avatar that represents your profile. There's a mic icon, a video camera icon, and an avatar, with a hand raised. So you can click on that to enable your hand being raised. Once you are acknowledged, you can click to activate the second icon, which is the mic, and you'll be able to speak, and everybody in the session will be able to hear you. If you prefer to use the chat, bottom right of your screen is a collaborate panel. It's a purple ribbon. Once you click on that, you'll see some icons. The first icon from the left is a chat bubble. If you wish to chat, you can use that feature instead if you prefer to text. All right. Today's session is recorded as with all other sessions, but recordings will not be emailed. All right. The recording for today's session will be placed in the basic Moodle training course online, and we will give more information on how to access that course shortly. So today we will be looking at the fundamentals of Moodle. So this session is designed for everyone, whether you're a Moodle novice or an expert user. I believe this session will be beneficial to you. This Moodle training was created, the basic training was created to help persons understand the fundamentals of Moodle. It is a training session that we have been offering over the years, and I don't think it's new to any person here, but it is still very important as it helps to guide you on the creation of your own course, your own Moodle course. All right, and just a quick background on Moodle. So Moodle is an open source learning management system. It's also referred to as a content management system. So we use LMS for short, for learning management system, CMS for short, for content management system. So it's really an online platform designed to facilitate the process of teaching and learning online, right? And it is also used by corporate companies for the purpose of training and not solely used in education by academic institutions. So many schools globally use Moodle and have customized and rebranded it to suit the needs of their academic institution. UTech has done the very same. We have rebranded Moodle and called it UTech Online. So when you hear me saying Moodle, UTech Online, I'm referring to the same platform. Now, as it relates to today's session, our basic training, so I'm going to stop sharing the flyer now and start sharing my full screen. Okay, so you should be able to see my screen now. So our basic training is offered online. It is designed as a self-paced and competency-based course. So this means that you get the opportunity to demonstrate on your understanding of what you have learned by completing specific tasks or learning activities within each course unit. These tasks involve course creation from scratch, so you build your own course shell, and of course it involves modifying the course, populating the course with content, as you can see from my screen here. Now, the content you populate your course within the basic training is what we call resources. Resources in Moodle refer to any tool that can be used for the presentation of content or display of content, right? Now, doing this course online can take anywhere between 2 to 4 hours for completion, and badges will be released upon successful completion of each unit, and a certificate once you have successfully completed the online basic training course. We offer all Moodle trainings online actually. So we have basic, which we're looking at now. We have the intermediate, and we have advanced. All right. Now, just quickly on the intermediate training. So this is next in line, of course, after the basic training, and it explores how to create engaging and interactive activities for your students. There are activities for collaboration that it guides you on creating, other tools for content presentation, and also it looks at tools for the purpose of student assessment, right? And then we have the advanced training course. This one is done by Mrs. Kamala Anderson. It focuses on guiding online facilitators on how to identify and appropriately use the tools in Moodle for teaching online successfully, right? So it looks at role of the e-tutor, how to manage students' expectations, customizing your module, assessing for learning, and of course at the end you have quiz that you have to take. Once you have successfully done so, you receive a certificate. And as said before, with all training sessions online, you have the different units from which badges will be released upon successful completion of each unit. All right. So for all the training sessions online, we have an award system in place for that purpose, right? So Mrs. Anderson will speak more on that shortly, but in order to take these training sessions successfully online, you will need access to our second Moodle site. Our second Moodle site is called LMS Dev. It stands for Learning Management System Development Space. The URL is lmsdev.utech.edu.jm. You don't need to remember that because in the basic training, there's actually a link to that particular website. Now, LMS Dev is really a space accessible to lecturers only. So students don't have access to this space. Students only have access to the lab environment. Why is that so? Is because this is a space, as the name suggests, for initial development and creation of courses. We allow lecturers to use this space to play around, to get a hands-on feel of the of the site by themselves. When you get to this site for creation of your course, so I'm just going to click top right to log in. When you get to this site and you have successfully logged in, as the instructions in the basic training will tell you, you have to scroll to search for the faculty or the department that you are a part of. All right, so when you log in, this is the first screen you will see. This is the first screen you will see. Once you scroll down, the different categories are there. You would select the faculty you are a part of. Okay, and if there are schools under your faculty and they're listed, you can click on that school, and once you scroll to the bottom, you should be seeing the add a new course button. Okay, if you're not seeing the add a new course button, then that means you are not added to the site as a course creator. If you were in the past able to create a course within LMS Dev, that means that you would have been added already as a course creator. If not, you can write to myself or Mrs. Kamala Anderson, and we will add you as a course creator, enabling you to add a new course to the site. Okay, now once your course is created in this space, there's a certain standard the course has to meet prior to it being migrated to UTech Online. So I'm going to ask Mrs. Anderson to speak more on that, and then I'm going to also ask her to speak on the importance of doing the training sessions online as it relates to getting the badges for the different learning activities. And then after that, now we will get straight into the training. So Mrs. Anderson.
Thank you so much, Ms. Beck. Good afternoon, colleagues. Thank you so much for coming. And again, we apologize for the mix-up yesterday. We have gone through and tested our systems again to ensure that it won't happen for future sessions. So as it relates to the training session. So many persons who would have been seeking promotions at the university, whether from lecturer to senior lecturer or to professor, assistant professor, whatever, and you would have completed some sort of work or training with ODL. Persons would have written to ODL in the past requesting verification letters, and those would have been provided, and you would have been able to submit that as evidence along with your portfolio to HR. What we are implementing now is more of a competency-based approach, which means that yes, we're still having the sessions, and I'm very pleased to see that so many persons have responded to the flyer that was posted um, on the broadcaster. And as you can see, we have quite a number of sessions coming up for the summer session, which we will repeat in the upcoming academic year. So, feel free to register for any that interest you. So what we have done basically, as Ms. Peck outlined, we have our 3 training modules. We have the basic, the intermediate, and advanced. And so for all of the training that we are doing, we actually have it on the UTech online site. Um, so what you will do is, most persons here, I went through yesterday and I added you to the basic. If you're still not added, then that means that you either didn't register or you don't have a profile on UTech Online. So as Ms. Speck indicated, you have to have a profile on UTech Online. So that means that you would need to, if you're a regular full-time UTech staff member, you just need to log on to UTech Online with your UTech credentials, so the same credentials that you use for your email. And once you have done that, then you can send me an email and I can add you to the module. So the module has been divided into various sections, and as we said, it's a competency-based approach. So what that means is we have videos, we have readings for each section, and as the spec indicated, the sandbox link is there for you to actually go on and create a test course or a dummy course for you to demonstrate your competencies. And then there's a quiz for each section. So after you have successfully completed each quiz, I believe the pass mark is 80%, then you will receive a badge. And this a badge is just a digital verification to say, yes, you're competent in this area. So when persons start in the new academic year, when persons will write to ODL for the verification, that is what we'll be using to determine your competency. So you would have to complete the various sections in the modules. No, you don't necessarily have to complete the entire module. So as I said, there are several units, about 5 or 6 units per module. So if you don't wish to complete the entire basic course, that's fine. But you get the section, you get the badge per section that you complete. If you complete the entire course, then of course you will receive a certificate. And that's the same for both the intermediate and the advanced. So that is the approach that we will be taking going forward, to ensure that it's not just about attending the sessions, but it's about actually being able to demonstrate your competencies in that area. So as I said, you will get the badge, and the badge will be aligned to each unit. So you get a badge per unit that you complete. So I have gone ahead, persons who have registered, when we start offering the intermediate and the advanced, then I can add persons. If you want to go ahead and start exploring on your own, you don't have to wait for the sessions. You can just send me an email and I can add you to the modules. So the idea is it's self-paced learning. There's no timeline, there's no deadline. You can just go and take your time, view the videos, read the material, play around with it. It's nothing that's difficult, but the idea there is to give you an opportunity to really demonstrate and to learn, and then hopefully you can apply it in your own modules. So I think that's it for me. Turn back over to Ms. Beck.
Thank you, Mrs. Anderson. All right, now within the development space, LMS Dev, remember I mentioned earlier, this is where all courses are first created before migration. Now, the basic training takes us through this process. This is actually the first step that we have to go through. And in today's session, we'll be going through the basic training in its entirety. So when it is your time now, after the session to go in and to attempt. It's going to be much easier for you having seen me, demonstrate how to complete each task. So once you are at this space, lmsdev.utech.edu.jm, as I had indicated, the link is here. You simply click and it takes you in this space. You're required to log in using same username and password used to access the live site, UTech Online. You scroll down, search for your faculty. Once you have found it, you click on it. Okay, if there's a specific school that you're a part of within that faculty, you would click to find that faculty, that school rather, and then click on the add a new course button. The add a new course button is at the end of the page, so you have to scroll down to access it. All right, so once you click on that, an electronic form will load, and you can be guided by your syllabus for entering the details here, most of the details. All right, so the course full name.
Excuse me, Miss Peg.
Yes,
Are we
Dr.
supposed to
Potato.
be are we supposed to be seeing your screen?
Oh, you are not. Sorry about that.
No.
Thanks. Thanks, Miss Moore, Miss Jones. Just seeing all of that. All right. So, right. So you should be able to see now. Are you?
Yes.
Perfect. Alrighty. Okay, so this is the space I was at initially. I was saying in the basic training course, once you click on the sandbox link, it takes you here. All right. Once you log in, you scroll down to search for your faculty. Once you have found it, so I'm from ODL, I'm going to click on ODL. Right. You might see schools listed under your faculty. You simply click the school that you're teaching the course from. Right. Scroll to the bottom of that page and you should see the add a new course button. So I was saying the add a new course button is at the end of the page. Right. So once you have clicked on that, you would be required to enter some details to fill out this electronic form. And I was saying that the details can normally be found on the course syllabus for which you're creating the course. Now, I am working with a little Word document here just for ease of access to information. So I'm going to be copying and pasting from this document for the duration of the training session. So course full name, I'm just going to copy and paste this text here. Okay, and then for the course short name, it's the same thing as the course code or the course ID number. All right, so I'm gonna enter that here. So I'm just gonna create one. Right, and in yesterday's session, Mrs. Anderson had mentioned that, so as you would know, the course short name is like the unique identifier of the course. It's the course code. Two courses can't have the same course code. All right, so if it is a case where you have entered a course code and you're trying to save the course, the system will tell you that a course already exists with the same course code. So what would happen is that you would have to liaise with the original creator of the course or the person that is teaching the course with that course code to actually get a space on that course. So what would happen is that you can use the same course with another lecturer, but you can restrict your students to only accessing and viewing certain aspects of that course. All right, but we won't be able to facilitate or accommodate rather the same courses with the same course short name, or multiple courses rather using the same course code. All right, so once we have the course code entered, we would scroll down, and some of these settings we won't change them, they will stay as default. So for example, course visibility, this is speaking to if you want the course to be shown or hidden. We're going to click on show. Course start date, the system automatically generates the course start date to be 1 day after today. Okay, so this is saying June 4th, but this is not something that we have to change, because once the course is to be offered at the start of a semester, then that is the date that the system will be using. All right, so we're going to let these stay as is. Course ID number, not a required field, but you can re-enter the course code in this box here. Now down to course summary, there's a section within your syllabus that says course description. Once you have an electronic copy of your syllabus, you can copy and paste that section in the course summary box here, or if not, you can type it out. I'm just going to copy and paste the text that I have here, Control V. Okay, and we're going to scroll down to course image. Now for course image, you use a picture that best represents your course. So my course is about technology for teachers, the 21st century classroom. So I'm going to click on the add button here, choose file, and I'm going to search for an image that I think represents technology in the classroom. All right, so I'm going to use this image here, double click on it, upload this file, and my image appears. So you might be wondering at what point do students actually see this information, the image. So I'm just going to go to my dashboard to show you how it would appear. All right, so my dashboard takes a little while to load. So while that loads, let us just continue, and then you'll see what it will look like from that screen. Now, from the course image, we're down to course format. And there are 4 course formats listed here, but within the live site we have about 5 course formats. All right, so here we have the single activity format, which basically allows you to choose one activity for the course. So if it is that you want to create the course just to host one activity, then this is a format that you would use. This is a format you would use. Social format allows you to create a course for the purpose of discussion forum only. All right, we have the topics and the weekly format. These are more popularly used formats. The topics format allows you to enter the unit name for each section of the course, and the weekly format states the week range from the start of the course. All right, so we are going to use a topics format. Let me just see if the dashboard has loaded right. So this is what it would look like in terms of the course image being displayed on the dashboard. All right, if you don't select an image, then it would show something like this, a default image, but otherwise this is what it would look like if you have uploaded an image. Okay, next, number of sections. How many topics or how many weeks do you want to be displayed in your course? Right, you have from 0 to 52. So I'm going to select 4 sections for the purpose of this training. Next, hidden sections. How do you want hidden sections to be displayed? Now, hidden sections refer to any area of the course or activity or resource of the course that you might hide. So let's say you have a quiz coming up, but you want to hide it. You have already set the quiz, it's already in the course schedule and everything, but you don't want students to see. This is asking you, do you want any activity or resource that you hide to be shown, but in a collapsed form, wherein students will be able to see it, but they won't be able to open it, so they won't be able to start the quiz, right? Or do you want anything that you hide to be completely invisible? So it will be completely invisible to the student, but not to you, since you would have been the creator of the activity. So I'm going to select hidden sections are shown, but in a collapsed form. Next, we have course layout. Right? How do you want the topics or the weeks of the course to be displayed? Do you want to show all on one page, or do you want to show one topic or 1 week per page? We're going to opt for show 1 section per page. This is normally advised if you have a lot of content in your course, and even if not, just for a better display of the course to your students. You don't want them to feel overwhelmed. I would say opt to show just 1 topic per page, because the students would have navigation buttons so they can jump to the topic or the section of the course that they want to view. All right, but just 1 will be displayed each time. Now, down to appearance, we're not going to change force language option. Number of announcements, we can change this to 1. And by default, the system actually creates an announcement forum, which you will see once we have created the course. Next option, do you want to show gradebooks to students? So if you select yes, students will be able to see their own gradebook. So remember, in Moodle, all activities can be graded. So the students will be able to go into the gradebook and see the grades they have received, right? And then we have activity reports. Do you want students to see what activities they have completed thus far in the course and what they have left to complete? This is something that you can enable as well. So I'm going to click on yes. And when you are doing anything in Moodle, so I'll show you for other sections of the training, you will see these little question marks here. These are help buttons, right? So if you are lost, you don't know what something stands for, you can always click on this and it will give you a description of what is being asked of you. Okay. We're going to move down to files and uploads. We're not going to change the upload size. Within the test system or development system, the site upload is 70 megabytes, but in the live environment, it is 5 gigabytes. All right, so we're not going to change this. Let's move down to completion tracking. Now, with this particular feature, what completion tracking enables you to do is to restrict students from moving on or advancing to an activity or resource if they don't complete an activity or resource that occurs before. Okay, so you can restrict your students from posting to a forum if they haven't first clicked to read a PDF document. So if you want to enable that feature, you can click on yes. However, if enabled, you would have to now go into each resource and activity to set up conditions as it relates to how students get to view or when they get to view having completed what task. Okay, so very useful. That won't be explored in today's training. This is for intermediate. Now, groups within UTech Online, activities can be completed in groups. You get to set up visible or separate groups. With visible groups, students are able to see the interactions of the other groups, and with separate groups, they won't be able to see the other groups or to see their interactions within the course. I said before, this can be set up for assignments, for forums, and for other activities. Now, down to role renaming. This is a section of Moodle that allows you to enter a different name for the roles as they exist with their default names within the system. So, for example, your word for teacher, if you like, could be lecturer. Your word for student, if you prefer, could be course participant. All right, so the system automatically rename these roles to the names given by you here. So if it's important to you, you can make these changes as you see fit. We're now going to scroll down and click on save and display, or save and return, either is fine. Okay, and then to get to the course, we call these series of links a breadcrumb trail. All right, to get to the course, we have to click on the course code. So anywhere you are within the site, if you want to get back to this main course page, you simply click on the course code. So we have successfully created our course. As you can see, the 4 topics are there. We are using the topics format. It's empty. So we created the shell and we were able to get the course. Now we have to work on populating the course. And before we can actually do that, we have to turn editing on. That's very important. We won't be able to, add to this course if we don't have editing turned on. Top right of the course is a turn editing on button. So we're going to click on that to activate that mode. Okay. And I'd earlier mentioned as well that the system automatically generates an announcement forum. So this is what that looks like. If you don't want it, you can always click on the edit option and you can delete. All right. If you want to modify the forum to reflect some other name, you can click on edit settings. You can change the name. Suppose you want to call it course announcements instead. You can put that there. If you wish, you can change the description, and you can also choose to display the description on the course page. All right, so we're going to scroll down, click on save and return, and this is what that looks like. All right, so students would actually click on the forum. All right, and then if you have a topic added here or any announcement, it would be displayed within this space. All right, so let's click on our course code to go back to the main course page, and we're going to start adding some content. So there are additional options when I click on the edit button. If I want to create an indentation to the right, I can click on move right. So you see it has moved over a bit. If I want to put it back to its original position, I can click on move left. So when we're doing like headings, this is very useful. All right, if I want to hide this, I can click on hide. If I want to create a second occurrence, I can duplicate. If I want to assign roles for my students to this forum, I can do that. And if I want to remove it, I can click on the delete. It prompts me, are you sure? You can click on yes, or you can click on cancel for no. Okay, now the first thing that we want to add to this course now, to try to get it to appear as though it's a course, we're going to add what we call a block. Okay, now blocks are everywhere in Moodle. As a matter of fact, top left, if I click on this option, it brings out a block. We call this an administration block. Okay, the administration block basically has a list of very useful links where when you click on them, they take you to different spaces within UTech Online. The block that we want to create now is called the HTML block. HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. This block is highly customizable because it allows you to do anything you want to do with it in terms of adding any type of content. We're going to be using the HTML block for the purpose of displaying a profile picture as the online facilitator or lecturer of the course, and just displaying useful information as it relates to you, probably contact information, so that students can reach out to you. So this is important because we want students to readily and visibly know who their lecturer is, at least a picture, or it could be a video of you introducing yourself to your students, right? So we want to do this block, and we want to have it at the right hand side of the course, so students will be able to open the course and to just quickly see that. So to do this, of course, we have to have editing turned on. It's already on. We're going to click top right on the gear icon or actions menu. Okay, so we're actually doing the wrong thing. We're going to click top left on the administrative block. We're going to scroll down and we're going to click on add a block. All right, so as I mentioned before, there are a lot of blocks in Moodle, quite a number. I mean, you can explore them in your own free time, but what we're looking for is HTML blocks. I'm going to click on that. Okay, and the block is added to the right of the course. Okay, so we have to now configure the block. So to do that, we're going to click on the gear icon and click on the first option that says configure block. Okay, and we're going to give this block a name. So I'm going to call this meet your online facilitator, and we are going to add some content here. So the first thing I want to enter, I could enter a video here. So when students see it on the front page, they can click to play the video. For the purpose of the training, I'm going to be entering a picture, like a profile picture. All right, so I'm going to use this avatar. Let's say this is me. Okay, so this is what the image looks like. If I click to save image, it's gonna say the image must have a description, and this is very important because if there's an error with the system and the system can't display the image, the description, which we call alt or alternate, what it does is that it would be able to tell the student or any user of the site what the image is. So even though they can't see, so it's like a description. So I would say profile picture of facilitator. All right. If you wish to not put a description, you can click that this image is decorative only. All right. So I'm going to click on save image. And below my image, I am going to put my name. Okay, I'm going to put my email address. and then I am going to put my contact number. And of course, as a lecturer, you get to decide what you want to put here, what you want students to know about you. Good. Could be an audio recording, could be video, as I said before. You can insert links, quite a number of things you could put here. We're going to scroll down, click on save, and it's going to turn this in off so you can get a better view. This is what that looks like. All right, so this is also something you will see in the basic training, in the intermediate training, and in the advanced training. To the right, you will see the HTML block. Okay. All right, so next, what we want to look at adding is a resource. Remember, we said the basic training primarily looks at resources, how to populate the course with resources. And I earlier mentioned definition for resource in Moodle means any type of tool that can be used for content presentation. Now, the first resource that we want to look at is what we call a label. The label enables you to place any type of content readily on the course page. Okay, so it probably almost looks something like this, but it's not a block. Okay, so we're going to turn editing back on, and we're going to be adding a label to topic 1. Before we do that, let's give topic 1 a name. Of course, if you have your syllabus, you can freely go ahead and rename all of your topics to reflect the unit names. So we're going to click on the little pencil beside the topic to change the name. Now remember, I'm working from this Word document, so I'm just going to grab on the pencil, Control V, or right click and paste. And then once I've entered the topic name, I hit enter on my keyboard, and that is updated. Good. So under topic 1, we're going to click on add an activity or resource. This is how we add activities or resources to our course within Moodle. So I'm going to click on that. Click on resources and click on label. Now let's say the label feature is one that I always use. I can just click to star it. So if I star it, the system creates a starred category, and I can always just click here. I don't have to be searching through a list of resources or activities to find what I want. It's always here. Remember, I mentioned to you that Moodle helps you along the way. So if you need a description of what a resource or activity is because you're unsure of it, the help is there. You simply click on the I, which stands for information, and it provides you with information on that particular resource or activity. So here it says the label enables text and multimedia to be inserted on the course page in between links to other resources and activities. The labels are versatile because they can help to improve the appearance of the course. It can be used to add a short description to a course, can be used for subheadings, and it can be used to display an embedded sound file or video directly on the course page. So the label is for placing content directly on the course page. So I'm going to click to add. All right, and then I'm going to enter the content for my label here. For the purpose of this label, I'm going to be adding some text. So I'm going to copy the text here. Control V to paste, and I'm also going to be adding an image. All right, so I want the image to appear below the text. I'm going to hit the enter key, and from the toolbar here, I'm going to use this image icon. All right, let's say I had the image on the internet. I could just paste the image address here. If I have it on my computer, I have to browse repositories, choose file. All right, so I'm looking for an image of a laptop. Okay, there is none. So, well, yeah, I'm going to use this one here. Just going to double click on it. Click to upload this file. And this is very large. Originally, it's a large image. So I'm going to resize it. Okay, so I'm going to just click in this section here, type 250, and it will auto resize the other dimension for me. And I'm going to give the image a name. So I'm going to call this image of a laptop. On save image. And then we are going to just scroll down and click on save and return to course. All right, so this is what my label looks like. It's directly placed on the course page. We don't advise a lot of labels on the course page. You don't want the content to seem overwhelming. We prefer if you integrate pages and links so that students don't have to do a whole heap of scrolling. So if you have videos, a lot of videos, we don't recommend that you put them directly on the course page. Use each resource tool appropriately. Do we have any questions on the label before we move on to our next resource? Okay, we're gonna move on. The next resource type we want to look at adding is called a page. Now, the page is used to display any content type. It doesn't display like the label. You get a link, you can click on it, and then the students will be able to see the content that you have on that page. Now, if you wanted to use the page feature over, let's say, a Word document or PowerPoint, it can be useful in that if you need to make changes to the page, as opposed to probably like a Word document, you'd have to go back to your computer, make the changes from the computer, save it, and re-upload it. If you use a page, you just come here to Moodle, you just modify the section of the page that you want to modify, and then you save it. All right, so it's hassle-free, I would say. However, it has to be used as well in moderation because you don't want a page with a whole heap of content and you have the student just scrolling down. All right, so presentation of content in the online environment is so very important. We have other resource types for facilitating different presentation types. So we're going to add an activity or resource. Click on resources and we're going to select web page. Good. We're going to give the page a name. Okay, so I'm going to call this smart boards or interactive whiteboards. So how I'm pulling information from this document is not consistent. It's just for demonstration purposes. All right, you can give a description for the page. Sometimes we make the mistake of adding the page content in the description box. So be mindful that this is a description box, which you can enter information for describing the page, but the page content actually goes in this box here. Now for page content, we're going to add some text. We're going to embed a YouTube video, and we want to also embed an audio recording. All right, so we're going to copy the text here. Control V to paste. If you're using an Apple keyboard, it's Command V. All right, and then we're going to get a video from YouTube. So smart boards or interactive whiteboards, we're going to search for a YouTube video on that. Okay, so let's use the first video that's up. Well, this is not a video, this is a site, I think. Or are they all videos? No. So the video starts here. This one looks nice. So let's say we have clicked on this, we have watched it,
Win at work by
and
communicating effectively.
we think it is suitable for our students. We are going to right click on the video and we're going to copy the embed code. We're not using this. This is a URL or the link. We don't want a link. We want to embed the actual video within Moodle. So we right click, copy embed code, right? Go back to Moodle and we're going to paste that code. If we paste the code here, Moodle will not know how to interpret the code. It's an HTML code, right? So we're going to click on this down arrow to get more options within the toolbar. Click on the last icon. This is the HTML icon. And at the end, because we want the video to appear after the text, at the end, we're going to Control V and paste the code. Right, and then to see that, we're going to click back on same HTML button and the video has appeared. Okay, so we're going to add a little bit more text. So let's just grab this text here, Control V to paste, and we're also going to add, yes, Mrs. Anderson.
Sorry, can you just explain why it is beneficial to embed as opposed to just pasting the URL?
Repeat.
Can you just explain why is it beneficial to embed the video as opposed to just pasting the URL?
Okay, well, I mean, for different reasons. So for me personally, when the the link is placed, students actually go to YouTube and they get lost in terms of, yes, they watch the video, but there are other videos recommended and other videos that come up at the end, and they probably end up staying over YouTube and watching and, you know, going off tangent. Once the video is embedded in the course, that is the video that they will see, and it will not take them to the YouTube platform. So everything will be contained on the page. They'll be able to watch from the page, and then they can move on within Moodle. Is there anything else, Mrs. Anderson, that you probably want to add as well?
No, man, that's it. Thank you.
That's it? Okay. All right. So what we're going to be adding next is the audio recording or audio snippet. So if you have a sound file that you have probably pre-recorded, you can insert that by using this option here. All right. So if I click on it, it gives me the option to insert audio. Good. Or if you want to record on spot, you can click on the mic here. Good. And this allows you to do a 2-minute recording. Okay, now you can have multiple 2-minute recordings if you want, but each snippet has to be 2 minutes only. So it's recording me now. I know because the timer is counting down. I'm going to click on stop recording. You can listen to the recording if you want. Okay, now you can have, before you embed it, if you're not satisfied, you can hit the record again button, or you can opt to attach the recording. Good. So our page has text, a video, and an audio recording. And of course, you can populate the page further. You can add links if you want to insert tables, more videos, more text. That is something you can do. Now, once we're satisfied with the content we have on this page, we scroll down, click on save, and return to course. You can click on save and display, which takes you immediately to the page, but I prefer to demonstrate what the link looks like on the page. Students would click on that, and then this is what the page looks like. Okay, we move on next to the URL feature. Do we have any questions before we move on to URL? Okay, now URL stands for Uniform Resource Locator. This resource type allows you to integrate hyperlinks to external sites within, well, external sites to Moodle. The site doesn't have to be external to Moodle. So for example, if you want to link to another area of your course, URL can be used as well. All right, the URL is used when you have a web address to somewhere, to anywhere at all. So let's say you have an article or a useful website that you want students to get information from. You can link that in the course, and students will be able to click and it would take them there. Now I'm going to click on add an activity or resource. Still in resources, click on URL. Good. And we are going to find an article on, let's just copy and paste the text here. Okay, and we're going to use this article here. I think this is the article I copied and pasted the content from the Word document. Good. What we want is the web address, same thing as the URL. You can select it at the top of the page, right click copy or Control C, go back to Moodle, and where it says external URL is where you would paste that URL. Okay, now where it says name, this is where you give the name of the URL that you're pointing the students to. So this could say article on technology teachers. Good. Okay, and then we're going to scroll down and hit appearance, because we get to decide how we want this link to be displayed. The option that I am going to recommend is in pop-up, because in pop-up actually creates a pop-up window that students can actually click into. to view the web page. Automatic and open, I think, both do the same thing in that they would navigate away from Moodle, and students can easily get lost because they click on the article, they see other links, and they want to click on it, and then they can't get back to Moodle. So we want to use in pop-up. All right, we're going to see how that displays. Scroll down, save and return. This is the article. So when students click on it, it really opens a pop-up window. They can click to maximize the window. Okay, and when they're through viewing the article, they can simply click on the X and they're back into Moodle. All right, so let me just quickly demonstrate. I'm going to edit this to quickly demonstrate. Let's say we were using the option, I think the default option was automatic. So let's say we were using that one. When I click on that, you see it navigates away from Moodle. So students are reading this article, they see degree programs, they click on degree programs, or probably something that links to somewhere else, right? And Moodle is nowhere inside. So probably they have clicked on several links. They're going to have to be using the back button into eternity. All right, so we don't want that. We want for students to be able to get it at a pop-up, and then they would be able to close, and it takes them back into Moodle. Okay, so if you need to modify any earlier resource type, remember as demonstrated with the course announcements, you can click on the edit option. All right, and you can click on edit settings. You can add to or remove content from any resource type you have added. If you don't want it anymore, you can delete. All right, now next we want to look at one of the most popular resource types. It's called file. The file enables you to upload documents such as PowerPoints, PDFs, Word documents, Excel files, and the list goes on. If you have, let's say, your lecture notes contained in a PowerPoint document, you can use the file resource to upload it. There are two ways to import files within your course. The quickest way I'm going to demonstrate it is to drag and drop, right? So let's say I have my folder here now. Let's say I have this folder with some files that I want to add to the course. I could simply select the file. So let's say this is a file I want to add. I will just left click, drag, and release. Okay, if there are multiple files that I want to add to the course, I can do a multiple selection. So I hold down the control key on my keyboard and I select all of the files that I want to add. This can be videos, it can be pictures, Word documents, whatever file it is. Multiple selection, left click, hold that left click, drag it, and release it wherever in the course you want it to appear, the topic. All right, so you can only go to the end of each topic, and then of course you can move it up or down based on where you want it to appear under that topic. So if I wanted the feedback Word document to appear under this label, I simply hold, make sure that I'm clicking on the 4-point arrow, hold it, okay, and then I can release it here. All right, so things can be changed in terms of the order that you want them to appear in. Okay, the other way to add a file is to use the conventional route and an activity or resource. Click on resources, choose file from the resource list, give the file a name. And it's very important to give specific names to your resources and activities so students will be able to readily tell what that particular resource is about. All right, you can drag and drop as well in this space, right? So if I wanted this Word document, I could just drag and drop it here, or I can click on the add button, choose file, and select it from the folder that I want to select it from and upload this file. Okay, so that is how you add, well, those are the ways in which you can add files to your course. If you are adding for example, a PDF. So if it's a Word document, we have no control over how students view it. It's going to be automatically downloaded to their computers. If it is, let's say a PDF document, you can choose for it to be shown in a pop-up window, and you can also explore the other options, force download, just to see how it will be displayed in terms of how your students will view it. All right, but if I select in pop-up for the Word document, it's still gonna download to the computer once the student clicks on it, so that doesn't work for that option. All right, so we're gonna scroll down, save, and return to course. All right, and this is what these files look like. Now let's say you had multiple files, but you don't want them all over the course page. You want to have a folder with these related files. So Moodle allows you to use the folder resource to add multiple files to one section of the course. So it's going to be housed in a folder and not displayed in line on the course page. So we're going to click on add an activity or resource, resources, folder. We're going to give this folder a name. Okay, just having some issues with my mouse. So we can call this handouts on. Okay, and then we scroll down and we are going to use our folder to select multiple files. Let's say these are the handouts. All right, and we are going to hold our left click, drag, and release. All right, so we have multiple files here. Of course, you can use the add button here, but this is a much more I think it's a more tedious process because you have to click on add, choose file. You don't get to select multiple files. See, I can't select multiple files and I'm holding the control key down. I'd have to select one file, go back to upload this file, come again, click on add, choose file, select another file, and upload this file. So the drag and drop feature really is the best option if you have a lot of files to add to your folder. All right, you also get to display how the contents of the folder are shown to your students. Do you want it to be on a separate page where they have to click on the folder to see what's in it, or do you want for it to be displayed in line on a course page? In line on a course page means that the students will be able to see the details or the content of the folder on the course page. All right, so we're going to select on a separate page. You can choose to force download of the files. You can choose for students to be able to see the option to download the folder with all the files in it. Good. We're going to scroll down, save and return, and see what that looks like. So this is our folder. Once we click on it, it shows all of the files, and if I click to download folder, it downloads it as a zip file for me. Okay, so let's just edit. So from here as well, I can use the gear option to edit the folder. Let's say I chose the option in line on a course page, which is probably the one I would use because you have an arrow that allows you to display or not to display. So this is what that looks like. So it shows all of the contents, but if you click on this little arrow, all right, it hides everything. Good. Okay, so we have thus far looked at creating a block, an HTML block. We have looked at creating a label, creating a web page. We have looked at creation of URL, file, and folder. Now there's there's a last resource that we want to look at, very important, because you might have a document with content or a book that you want to display to your students, but you don't want to use a Word document, you don't want to use a PowerPoint feature, you don't want to use a page feature. There's actually a resource type in Moodle called book. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you're displaying a book, but it's a good way for displaying a lot of content in a structured way. Good. So I'm gonna just click on add an activity or resource, click on resources, and it's the first resource that you're seeing here. The description says that it enables a teacher to create a multi-page resource in a book-like format. So you get to have chapters and sub-chapters, and the books can contain different types of files, and it's useful for displaying lengthy passages of information. It can be used to display reading material for individual modules of study, can be used as a staff departmental handbook, can be used to showcase portfolio of student work, can be used for presentation of mass content, right? We're gonna add that, and we are going to give our book a name. So let's grab from our little documents here. Okay, so this is gonna be how technology can make teachers, so it can make their job easier. We're gonna Control V, and we don't need a description, but if it's important to you, you can enter a description there. We're gonna scroll down to appearance. Under appearance, how do you want the chapter to appear? As numbers, bullets, you want it to be indented, or none? So I'm gonna let it stay at numbers. And how do you want the style of navigation to appear? Table of contents only, that's what TOC stands for. Do you want it to be images or text? So I want the style of navigation to be images. So this points to how the student is hyperlinking to the different sections of the book. Right, so we're going to scroll down now, click on save and display. Why we're not saving and returning is because we haven't set up the book as yet. We have only given it a name. Right, so we're going to click on save and display, and it now takes us to the form to fill the chapter title. So this is for the first title of the book. Okay, so I'm going to call my first title The Benefits of Technology in Education. Control V, and we have a little content box here. I am going to pull the content from here. Control C, Control V to paste. Of course, you can insert your images as indicated earlier using the image icon here. All right, and of course, remember that we can resize the images to appear smaller. We can give the image a name, and then we save, and then click save changes. So what we have on this page is information for chapter 1. We have the title, we have the content. Good. Scroll down, save changes, and this is what the first chapter looks like. You only have one chapter. The TOC is in a block to the right. So if you want to modify the chapter just created, you can click here on the gear icon. You can delete. You can choose to hide the chapter. All right, now to add another chapter, we would click on the plus button here, and the chapter is going to appear as chapter 2 after the first chapter. So let's give this chapter a title: Increased Collaboration and Communication. If we wanted this to be a subtitle or a subchapter rather, we would click on subchapter, so it would be indented to appear under the first chapter. Okay, we're gonna copy and paste some content. All right, so we can drop in like a little audio recording here to appear after the text. Stop recording and attach. Good. And we just saving changes. All right, so let us add another chapter. Good. Give this chapter, let us call this let's say this is a subchapter of the previous one. All right, so we hit the little box here to make this a subchapter, and we're going to copy the content. Okay, so let's grab a YouTube video this time. So let's go to YouTube, search for a video. Okay, and let's say this is the video we have watched and found suitable to be shared with our students.
Hi, my name is Sarah. I'm from British Columbia,
Okay,
Canada.
so what we're gonna do, we are going to right click on the video and copy the embed code. Remember, we're not using the link, we're copying the embed code. We're gonna go back to Moodle. Okay, can anybody know where I would paste this code, or what button I would activate to paste the code? Any smart student? Mr. Panther, you may go ahead, sir.
Yes, you would click the down arrow at the top to get the additional options on the menu bar. Then
All
at
right.
the far right, you would go to the HTML tab there, and
All
you would click
right.
at the end of the
Okay.
document. Right.
Okay. All
Control
right. So
V.
how would I view it now?
Oh, you would view that now?
Right.
I don't want to hog it all. Let somebody else help here.
All right.
Go back to the same HTML icon.
So it would be this one.
Yes.
All
All right.
right. Okay, we're paying attention in class today. Thanks for that, colleagues. All right. So we have some text. We have a video. We're gonna scroll down, save changes. Okay. So let's add just one more page. So we have 3 pages, 2 chapters with a subchapter. Now, if I wanted to add a chapter, but I wanted to appear after the first chapter, I couldn't add it here. I would have to click on the add where the first chapter is, right? So I'm gonna add a new chapter, okay? And I'm going to give it the name. And if it's important to you, you can name them chapter 1, colon, and give the name of the chapter as opposed to just the heading name. All right, I'm gonna copy the content here, paste, and this time I'm going to have a little link. To read more, click here. Okay, so I'm going to hyperlink the word here. So I'm just gonna grab this link, this URL, we used it earlier, go back to Moodle, and I'm going to block the word here. Click on the link icon from the toolbar. It looks like a chain, right? And I'm going to Control V to plug the URL in here. And I want to open a new window. Important, because I said before, we don't want the students going all over the place. So open a new window and create link. Good. So we're going to scroll down, save changes. And this is what our book looks like. So we're going to view it shortly, properly, as a student would. So we have the table of contents here. If you want to delete, modify, move up or down, add, all of that can be done from this space. Okay, so we're going to click on the course code, and I'm going to just switch my role to student just to view this. So remember, I'd rename course participant to student. Yes, so this is how it appears. All right, so in laptops, so remember, it's view 1 section per page, so that's why it's showing like this. So this is topic 1, I can click to go on to topic 2, and so on and so forth. This is what the book icon looks like. We click on the link. And this is how it displays. So the students can navigate by either clicking from the table of contents or by using the arrow that appears here and below. All right, so chapter 1 on to chapter 2. To read more, click here. This opens in a new window. All right, once they close, they're taken back here. Chapter 3. Okay, they can listen to their audio recording here. Okay, move on to chapter 3. And they can click to watch their video. They can even put it in full screen if they want to.
The personalized learning model. Question.
All right, and then they have reached the end of the chapter, so they can click on this up icon to exit the book. So it takes them back to the main course page. All right, so we have come to the end of today's training session. We explored different resources in Moodle that can be used for displaying content. Do we have any questions before we end today's session? We have a session. We will be having a session every single week for the summer semester. So today we covered the basic training in Moodle. Next week we'll move on to intermediate. There was actually a schedule of activities that was sent out, schedule of training sessions to come that was sent out. I'm just going to quickly show it here. All right, let me just share files so that you can view it. All right, happy to hear that Mr. Mr. Panther. If you have any questions in the meantime, please feel free to raise your hand or to use the chat while I bring up the schedule of activities. All right, remember that you would have been added to the Moodle course. I'm going to reshare my screen shortly just to show you how you can check to ensure, because no recordings will be sent. The recording will be placed in the module, as well as no emails will be sent with links to the course, the training course. All right, so I think we have a question. Oh, it's Dr. Patop saying, okay, I'm happy to hear that, Doc. Very happy to hear that. All right, so I'm gonna be sharing the schedule of activities. No, the same link will not be used every week, because for every training session, we want to release a new flyer so it can be personalized to that particular training. All right, so we will have a new link every week.
Sorry, Miss Peck, is it a new link in terms of the new Blackboard Collaborate link, or is it a new registration link?
Oh, that's actually a good
Right, because we
question.
want them to
So
register.
it's gonna be a new registration link,
Right.
actually, right? Not a new room link.
Right,
Yeah,
but we
good
want people
question.
to register. We want you to register each week so that we can keep track of it for data purposes.
Right. So new registration link, but we're keeping the same room link for the meeting, for the session. All right, so the file is being uploaded to show the schedule of activities. Any more questions before we go? All right, so you should be able to see the right. So next week we will explore tools for collaboration, then tools for knowledge acquisition. So this is all a part of the intermediate training. We'll be looking at the interactive content feature, assignments and groups, mitigating plagiarism, how to configure your gradebook. July 21st and July 28th, we're going to be looking at online quiz creation and quiz troubleshooting, respectively. And then August 4, we'll be doing the advanced Moodle training that will be conducted by Mrs. Anderson. So these are the different training sessions that we have scheduled. All right. You should register. So a new registration link will be sent with each flyer, so you will register for each session weekly. Yes, Miss Jones. Okay, and as Mrs. Anderson reiterated, all recordings will be uploaded to the training module. So before we go, let me just quickly share my screen again to show you how you can check for your access to the Moodle Basic Training course. As Mrs. Anderson had earlier shared, most persons would have been already manually enrolled to the course. Right, so you should be able to see my screen now. Once you log in to UTech Online, as you know, the URL is utechonline.utech.edu.jm, sorry, or you can access from the main UTech website, which is utech.edu.jm. Click on staff, you'll see the UTech Online link. Once you click, you'll be prompted to log in. You enter your username and password, it will take you to this screen, which is your dashboard. The dashboard really does take a while to load sometimes. So if you don't see the courses, or the course rather, immediately, just hang on a bit. Good. If you have been enrolled to the course, it will be shown on your dashboard as part of the course overview. So this is it, the Moodle Basic Training course. You click on it.
Yes.
And you'll be taken in. All right, does somebody have a question there? I'm hearing somebody's mic. Somebody has a question?
Was asking if you could repeat what you.
Okay, you went down a bit, but to repeat what I just said, to access the Moodle Basic Training course, you log into UTech Online and the course will be shown on your dashboard. I was saying that the dashboard sometimes take a while to load. It takes a while to load for displaying the courses just as it is now. So the course might not be readily shown. So you just hang on a bit. When the course loads on the dashboard, you'll be able to see it. If you're not seeing the Moodle Basic Training course, that means that you have not been enrolled. So you can write to me or Mrs. Anderson to be enrolled to the course. All right. Once you click to enter, ensure you read everything, you open everything one after the other so that you don't miss out on anything towards your successful completion of the course. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to us, because, well, reach out to us not necessarily via email, but you would realize that there are forums created which we check regularly to ensure that there are no questions left unanswered. There's also a forum that is attached to each unit. All right, let's discuss this unit. So very simple, as Mrs. Anderson mentioned, nothing hard. Watch the videos, read the articles, and then you attempt the respective learning activity. Once you have successfully completed each unit, you will get a badge. Once you have successfully created the entire course, you'll receive a certificate of completion. All right, so thanks again to everyone for coming out to today's session. Trust it was useful and that you have learned a lot. See you next week. Take care, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.